Hello, my name is Christian Shavira, and we will be exploring Tyler Durden. Who is Tyler Durden slash Jack? His real name is Tyler Durden. However, the narrator of the movie believes Tyler is another real person and not himself. The narrator refers to himself as a specific organ of Jack occasionally, so for the sake of preventing confusion for this project, we will refer to the imaginative man as Tyler Durden and the narrator as Jack. He is the main character of the movie Fight Club. He is an insomniac who lives alone. Jack knowingly works as an automobile recall coordinator, but when he is Tyler, he works as a soap maker, a movie theater projectionist, and a waiter. Before meeting Tyler, Jack obsessed over his possessions to the point where they made him feel complete. The scenery of Fight Club. Fight Club takes place in the United States in the 90s. The exact location of the movie is never specified, but it is a city. The house of Tyler and Jack is an abandoned, rundown house located on a street named Paper Street. Paper Street is a term used for streets that appear on a map but do not really exist. Given the element of things not appearing as they seem to be in this movie, the setting is a bit questionable. Diagnosis of Tyler Durden slash Jack. Tyler is suffering from dissociative identity disorder. People suffering from this disorder portray at least two different identities. This disorder causes memory gaps for the time during which another identity is in charge, which would explain the multiple unknown jobs and actions Tyler commits without Jack knowing. DID is a controversial disorder, but I believe if he had gone to a therapist about this, he would have been diagnosed with DID. However, if Tyler had gone to trial for his crimes in the movie, he might not have been diagnosed with DID due to many criminals seeking this route to be considered not guilty. The jury might have ended up believing he was faking this disorder. Issues with dissociative identity disorder. Without a doubt, this disorder is not acknowledged in all cultures. In general, Americans have issues with believing people have DID due to the controversy surrounding this disorder. In less educated cultures, people would probably have a harder time believing this as well. This is due to some people in criminal history admitting to trying to use this disorder to get out of facing their consequences, such as Kenneth Bianchi. As mentioned, one stigma is some people will assume someone with DID is faking and consider them a liar. Someone with DID might also be perceived as threatening due to movies like Fight Club and Split. Evidence for DID and Tyler Durden slash Jack. The biggest piece of evidence is that Jack goes the entire movie believing Tyler is a separate individual until it is revealed to him that Jack's real name is Tyler Durden and they are the same person. Another piece of evidence is when Jack is speaking to the bartender tells him that they have met before, but Jack has no recollection of it. Also, the bartender calls him Tyler Durden. As mentioned, Jack has insomnia, which is relatively common in those suffering DID. Having an alternative identity and gaps in memory where the alternative identity takes over are both major symptoms of DID. The symptom that associates the least with DID is that there are times he can physically see Tyler, thus leading him to believe that Tyler is a different person. Hallucinations are not common in DID. Treatment of Tyler Durden slash Jack. I would attempt to treat Jack using psychotherapy. Psychotherapy focuses on past trauma, and according to American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy, DID is most likely caused by childhood trauma, which makes psychotherapy ideal. One concern of this treatment is the reliability of therapists involved. Issues of a hit or miss technique being used by the therapist or possible sexual misconduct of a therapist with patients have occurred. In one scene where Jack is being treated by a doctor, Tyler tells Jack to lie to the doctor about how he got hurt, and Jack obeyed with no hesitation. If Tyler could convince Jack to do this, it is possible Tyler would convince Jack to keep away from professional help about his DID. Dissociative identity disorder in the real world. This disorder is not accurately portrayed in that Tyler exists much as a complete hallucination. However, DID is relatively known to sometimes only associate with auditory hallucinations. Other than that, the portrayal of this disorder was done very well. As mentioned before with the stigmas, this movie can lead people to believe that people with DID are a threat. On the other hand, if someone happens to idolize Tyler Durden, they can see this disorder as a blessing and envy someone else's suffering. And here are the references for my project. Thank you very much, and gig 'em.